Alright, hey, what's up guys? Hello, hello. Welcome. Alright, let's begin. As seen here on the title and in the description box, we'll be talking about ticker symbol ALAB tonight. And the main reason being is that it is the first official swing trade idea for this year. And we're going to go over the technicals first and then go over the fundamental metrics as well and give you guys a little bit of sneak peek of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, well, the first one for this year. All right, so let's first start off as seen here on the weekly time frame. All right, let me make sure my audio is okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so first of all, ALAB has been one of the best looking stocks out there from a technical perspective, and in the semiconductor group as well, and in the entire industry there. And obviously there are leaders, but ALAB has been a pretty solid leader, and I'll show you guys why fundamentally as well too. But from a technical perspective, it looks really good. Now, with that being said, today was a little bit of a cautionary, just a cautionary warning here to bulls here, because again, the CES event in Vegas is happening, right, where all the leading tech companies and innovative tech companies and just small companies that are doing some great innovation are presenting their products and innovations, right? And specifically, semiconductors are always on the forefront of CES, since NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang always kicks off CES with a keynote, right, from the company and what they've been doing for the last year, right? So, just based off of that hype and momentum alone, has caused semiconductors to rally last Friday, which ended up with a nice gap up today. And one ticker that we got on Friday was ARM, which is a nice. Well, it's been absolutely broken to the downside for the last, I would say, for half of quarter four, or a little more than half of quarter four. But we're able to get a very quick mean reversion trade. And if you guys take a look at my Instagram story, I gave you guys a little sneak peek as to what contract we were in last Friday, and this turned out to be a nice triple-digit percentage return this morning. So very, very nice there. And I was able to get out right at the highs here too. I pretty much sniped the entry point and sniped the exit from last Friday to today morning. Now, with that being said, okay, ALAB was also, or Astera Labs was also a pretty good candidate for a nice move up higher. However, today, from a technical perspective here, we had to be cautious because we ended up with a nice bearish engulfing candlestick backed up by volume. Okay, so yes, we can just say that, today was just one of the full trading days where most people are back in the markets. Wall Street is back. All the analysts are back at institutions. Hedge funds are completely back from the holiday season. But if we just disregard that, just take a look at just the face value of the volume alone, right? The volume was at 7.58 million on the daily time frame here, compared to the average of 4.68 million. Now, this could just simply be an injection of liquidity as we start this year, as we have a bunch of outflows and inflows, as I've talked about in the report last night as well. The CFO Swinger Watch Report, for anyone who's new here. We can just consider that, right? And we can possibly be seeing a bit more of an increase in the average volume in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, or even just this month alone, right? Or maybe in just this entire quarter. But the price action now, right, clearly tells us that, hey, there's some profit taking that's happening here, and we need to be cautious, right? We need to be cautious here, even if the technicals still look great, even if this may just be a candlestick, right? This might just be just one bearish engulfing candlestick where maybe some fund just wants to take off ALAB for the rest of this year. Maybe they've sold this off. Maybe they're just selling off into the CES, right, event, into the keynote that Jensen Huang presented today to kick off CES, which officially starts tomorrow, all the way up into Friday, right? So you know, ALAB could be seeing that. I think from a catalyst perspective, that makes sense. It was more of a slight run up into the event, and now the sell off, right? Once the event has officially begun. So, you know, tomorrow I wouldn't be surprised if you see a continuation to the downside, maybe a slight gap up higher to start the morning for tomorrow, and then a retest at 175.50 and reject it to move lower again. But then again, if we end up with a nice inside day as well off of this big bearish engulfing candlestick, that still means that there's still a possibility that we can move to the downside, because again, an inside day candlestick just means that, well, it's a continuation candlestick. And what is it trying to continue from the previous candlestick? Well, to the downside, right? Since a bearish engulfing candlestick usually dictates the immediate price trend thereafter, which is going to be a downtrend, right? Obviously, we broke below the previous low of the day, which was last Friday's low of 171.69, and we made a new lower low at 162.53, and we ended up retesting the daily 21 SMA here, this rising light blue line. So depending on these factors here and the fact that the price is still above my major SMAs, the daily 21, this light blue line, the daily 50, this dark blue line, and my daily 200 SMA. However, well, albeit being below and closing below the daily 10 SMA, there's still that chance that we could be seeing a small inside day candlestick on ALAB, which again, like I said just a couple seconds ago, we might be seeing that retest, that little gap up open, and then the small retest at 175.50 before rejecting back down and ultimately closing below again, or at the very least near today's low. Okay, so that's the technical perspective. All right, now if you were to continue to move lower, right now this is being a little bit of a speculative take here in the near mid to long term future. I think ALAB can still be a triple-digit stock for most of this year, depending on how the overall tech industry and overall semi group performs this year, the first half of this year. Since again, if you guys have read the CFO Swinger Watch Report, the very lengthy report last night that was sent to your respective emails, and again, just as a little tangential statement here, if you guys aren't part of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, make sure you guys look at the description box down below. The very second link down below gives you the subscription link. You guys can take a look at that link, click on it. It'll give you all the information, what the CFO Swinger Watch Report does, what it can do for you, right, as a trader, and also basically give you guys different tiers that you guys can choose. And if you guys, again, just want to try us out, right, there is a trial period for 2 weeks that you guys can get for the price of less than a coffee per day. Okay, so just try us out. Right, try us out for 2 weeks. If it works out, great. You guys can once the trial service ends, when you guys can choose one of the 4 tiers that are there, and yeah, the ball's in your court from that point forward. But yeah, so as they stated in the report, right, based on how, or depending on how the markets move, especially the tech and the semiconductor industry, and how they perform for the rest of this year, I think ALAB has a pretty good chance to try to stay and uphold the triple-digit whole number level, which is at 100, the holy grail of all holy grails, right? In the stock trading world, that triple-digit number, right? The triple-digit whole number of 100 per share, right? $100 per share, and ALAB was already, you know, its IPO, its valuation at IPO was already high, right? It ended up IPOing, where is it? What was the opening price here? At $66, right? Oh no, $52.56 per share, right? So the fact that it was able to stick around the IPO lows and have a nice price discovery phase where it didn't break below into new all-time lows, just said enough, right? That this company is worth the triple-digit share price number, right? And it has stayed in a very nice, constructive consolidation period and phase. Even this moved lower from the current all-time high price print at 262.90 from last year. This orderly selling from this pivot clearly states that there's a lot of buyers that are willing to step in at every single low point, and just give us that reason to try to be bullish from a technical perspective. Okay, now before I move on into the fundamental perspective of ALAB and give you guys a little sneak peek to the analysis that I've done on the CFO Swinger Watch Report itself, I have to let you guys know that insiders have been selling. There have been zero insider buying on this company, in the company, and I find that a little bit. It's not a true concern for me in the longer term, but from an investor's perspective, right, it doesn't provide a lot of investor confidence, especially from retail perspective, right? Maybe even just from analysts too. Even though most analysts are bullish on ALAB, I give you guys the reasons why from a fundamental perspective. But with all that insider selling, right, it's not, it's mostly due to the fact that they're just taking profits, since they probably had, they most likely did, had a very good entry price for their own shares, which they probably have thousands of shares or hundreds of thousands of shares, depending on their employment status, where they're at, right? Maybe they're in the board of directors, or maybe they're just in the tip top, right, position in the company. You guys know what I mean. They most likely are just selling based off of how much the share prices have risen since IPO, and again, they most likely had shares pre-IPO already locked in, and once the lockup period was over post-IPO, they just began to sell and sell and sell. And again, just as a quick reminder, ALAB IPO back in May of 2024, right? It's over 2 years now. So, well, let's see. Yeah, it's been over a year, almost 2 years once we hit May of this year. So, it makes sense that they will be selling at this very opportunistic time, and most insiders are opportunists, right? They want to make sure that they actually take a bunch of their pre-IPO shares off, which is, again, they have every right to. They built the company up into the IPO, right? In the initial IPO there, and it makes sense that they want to sell. But again, it would be nice to see more insiders buying instead of every single insider transaction have been insider selling. They've been just selling for all of last year, right? There was zero insider buying. But again, there's a little caveat. This just IPO'd, right? It makes sense that we see insider selling. So again, it shouldn't dictate your 1 to 3 year time horizon for this company if you're invested in it. But if they were to start buying, right, that should provide more investor confidence for the next 3 to 5 years, or maybe into the next decade. And that brings us to a nice segue into the fundamentals, right? Looking at it from a 3 to 5 year time frame, or longer than that, a decade, right? So here's a little sneak peek. I'm not gonna go over the market summary there. You guys can just pause it. For anyone who is watching the replay, you guys can just pause. So I just went over it very, very quickly there. But here is the official 3-pager in the overall report that is 12 pages long. And again, 12 pages is pretty long for the CFO Swinger Watch Report, because again, it is a nice layman term writing style, layman's writing style, where it's a nice summarized analysis for all the people out there that can read it and understand it, right? It's for everyone to be able to understand and comprehend what I've written. So again, 12 pages is a lot, right? So sometimes I've had 15 pages. So this is still relatively short, but still pretty long. Okay, so ALAB was the official first swing trade idea for the fiscal year 2026, and I want to go over quickly the little points that I made here. Okay, so first of all, right now there's a RAM shortage, right? A RAM memory shortage. Okay, and ALAB can actually be a beneficiary of that, because like I said here, this can be a positive for them, as many data centers will be looking for solutions during this memory shortage, and ALAB specializes in exploring and figuring out memory expansion solutions. So since we have an actual physical memory RAM shortage, ALAB is able to transition physical memory problems or memory storage into virtual storage. Okay, now I don't really know the exact technological ways that they do that. Like I said here, right, how they expand memory physically and virtually. But what they do, it seems like they significantly reduce cost and improves performance through efficiency improvements that large AI workloads require, including that memory expansion and storage, right? So the company focuses on standard cloud storage as well, so that's another plus for them, while they put most of the efforts on AI infrastructure solutions, right? So again, ALAB is trying to establish leadership in this specific area, and again, with this overall RAM memory shortage that is expected to continue into the end of this year and maybe even into the end of this decade, right? I've seen some analysts write about that. Maybe ALAB really could use this opportunity to showcase the markets and analysts worldwide that, hey, you know, they can provide really good solutions to this RAM memory shortage that could prevail into the end of this decade, right? So, you know, ALAB is definitely something that you guys should be looking out for from just that simple perspective alone, that this situational perspective alone. But if we just take a look at their growth metrics and expectations, they blow it out of the park. Okay, so first of all, their total debt sits at a whopping $0, right? While their short-term and long-term assets have ballooned. Okay, so let me actually show you guys Koifin here. Okay, my favorite website to just give you guys my very quick peek at the overall fundamental metrics. I've shown you guys this too. Hopefully I can become sponsored by them in the future once this channel is able to pass 1,000 subscribers. And that brings me into, as I wait for Koifin to load, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel here, we have been growing pretty steadily this year alone. I think we gained we gained 16 subscribers in 2026 so far, so that's pretty good. And hopefully we're able to reach 700 before the year ends here, and maybe even 1,000 by the end of this year. That'd be great to see. But anyways, if you guys aren't subscribers, and if you guys are liking this stream so far, and maybe you guys hopefully might be able to check, I can earn you guys your subscription there on the channel here. Okay, so there it is. Now it's loaded. So ALAB here, let me bring it up here. All right, this is Koifin. So hopefully once I reach 1,000, maybe I can be sponsored by them. That'd be nice. Okay, so this is my own little template here that I've made for fundamental financials that I want to look at. So it's a quick snapshot of what I'd like to see how a company's doing. So I have the free cash flow from all of these are quarterly perspectives, right? Quarterly numbers. So the free cash flow, gross profit margin percentage, repurchase stock or buyback programs if the company has done that or is currently doing that, and then the cash/short-term investments and total debt. And I guess that changed here, over the weekend. But anyways, and then their earnings per share, GAAP or generally accepted accounting principles. Okay, so this is the 6 metrics that I use, but I tend to just look at these 5 right here. Okay, right? But I guess this changed here. But anyways, this doesn't really change my fundamental outlook here at all, because, well, as I've stated here in the report, right? Okay, their short-term assets sits at 1.3 billion, while their short-term and long-term liabilities total only 129.5 million. Right? It's a very clear difference. Okay, and so you can see this here as well, right? Their overall cash and short-term investment sits at 1.13 billion. I think I say that as well here. Yeah. So the cash and short-term investments is at 1.1 billion, or again, if you want to be specific, 1.13 billion. Okay, so this has been ballooning since 2024. Well, ever since they IPO'd as well too. Okay, so this is a very, very good growth. And their free cash flow is a little bit shaky, but they've been able to have positive free cash flow quarters here since last year and even back into 2024 as well. And their profit margins are over 50%. I always love when a company is over 50 to 55%. And this company has been able to stick at 70%, 75% plus for every single quarterly earnings since 2022, right? As far as it goes back here, right? So to me, this is a positive, okay? And again, the total debt, I believe maybe they acquired a company. I don't know why they would want to raise debt or use debt to leverage growth when they have plenty of cash and short and long-term actually assets that completely outweigh their short and long-term liabilities in total. So again, they probably acquired a company. I'll have to look at this again, but I mean, again, this is not much. This is practically zero. If you just take a look at their balance sheet, this is nothing, right, compared to how much cash on hand that they have, right, and even just their free cash flow too. Okay, so again, fundamentally, this is a very, very strong company that you guys really want to be looking at for 2026. And sure, from a valuation perspective, they might seem very, very expensive if you guys are looking at it from maybe even just from a DCF model, right? I was looking at some analysts that were bearish, had a bearish case, and they used their own DCF model. But then again, DCF models can be very, very subjective because it depends on what metric that you put in to that DCF model, right? So if you're looking for future growth and you use growth metrics and put in the DCF model, you can have a very, very, very bullish, a very asymmetric bullish case and thesis for ALAB. But then again, if you're looking for reasons why ALAB could be very, very overvalued at this point in time, and if you guys use certain metrics that could help spit out a very negative and bearish case thesis for ALAB on a DCF model, you will get that as well, right? So again, overall, the numbers from the report, their quarterly earnings reports, I mean, it basically states that they're a very solid company, right? And you should be looking at them in 2026 and beyond as this RAM memory shortage continues and will continue into next year so far. I mean, I think everyone agrees so far on that. I just hope that it doesn't lead into more shortages into the end of this decade. Maybe, hopefully it's resolved by next year, by the end of 2027, who knows? But we're already seeing a bunch of memory chips seeing a huge increase in prices, so that's not good, right? As the consumers are already getting squeezed, right? And as employment goes down, and the UR or the unemployment rate is nearly at 5% already. And I've already told you guys this. I think I stated this in 2023 that in the next couple of years, there's a possibility that we can break that threshold of 4 to 4.5% in the UR, and if that occurs, that'll be a very quick move to that 5% number for the UR, which is not good for the economy, right? Because again, we're still seeing relatively volatile and high inflation, right? So we don't have a steady stability in prices just yet, but if we get that simultaneously with rising unemployment, that opens the door for stagflation, right? And we don't want stagflation, right? We don't want a stagnant economy where the labor market is not steady, right? And that's that's exactly what Federal Reserve Chairman has told us in previous news conferences during the FOMC meetings, right? He said we want to be able to see steady, a very steady labor market, but that's not what's happening. We're starting to see the labor market unwinding, and so we have this dual mandate from the Federal Reserve that's not working out so far, right? Prices have come back down, yes, from the highs that we saw in June of 2022, but now that the fact that we aren't really that close to the Federal Reserve's inflation target of 2%, And again, they go off by the PCE report, the PCE inflation, and the core PCE. And the fact that we've seen a slight uptick in the past couple of months is worrisome as well. But on top of that, now that they have to worry about the labor market unwinding, and the fact that we're actually, personally, I truly believe that the UR is already at 5%, but that is not good, right? Stagflation is never, ever good. And that could lead into more economic headwinds into the end of this decade, right? And, you know, again, I just went off on a little tangent there, but it does matter for these RAM memory shortages that we're seeing that just began late December a couple weeks ago and is now a very established problem right now in the chips industry. So specifically the RAM memory chips, right? So, you know, I think ALAB can really become a leader in that sense of being able to transfer and expand memory and provide specific memory solutions that most companies are most likely going to need as this RAM memory shortage continues. So ALAB will most definitely position themselves as a unique opportunity in 2026 if we get a nice dip. That might just be a very nice dip buy for ALAB for the longer term perspective. So again, I really want to kind of put ALAB in front of your guys' faces for this year, and that's kind of the reasons why, the general reasons and a very succinct summary as to why I want to show you guys ALAB for the very first trade idea or even just an investment idea, depending on how the technicals perform in the next couple of weeks and for this entire year, right? So again, you guys can pause this and take a look at this 3-pager that I've given to my CFO Swinger Watch Report readers. And again, you guys can read this and become a reader. Well, you guys can become a reader and read this just by taking a look at the description box down below and taking a look at the second link. Again, it's very hard to miss. It's the very second link down below in the description box. If you click on it, most of your questions will be answered. But if you guys have any further questions about this report and what you guys can get out of it, for example, or whatever benefits that you guys can get, if you guys want some more detailed answers that the website doesn't provide, please DM me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1, the same handle that I have on this YouTube channel at ChartsFocus1. All right, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Just DM me. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to go over ALAB since it was the very first swing trade / long-term idea for the very first full trading week of 2026. And again, we are on the 57th edition of the new and improved CFO Swinger Watch Report. Okay, so again, please check this out. If you guys want to read the full report, go right ahead and become a reader of the CFO Swinger Watch Report. Again, you guys will gain full access to the private CFO Discord as well once you guys become a reader. Again, it's your choice if you guys want to join the Discord. And I know there are plenty of other readers out there that aren't part of the CFO Discord, just to, you know, I guess some people just want to avoid that noise that could potentially occur from an active community. But again, if you guys want to join, that option is available to you. You guys will be getting a link once you guys subscribe. Again, you guys get 2 things for the price of 1, right? Depending on what tier you guys choose. Again, there's 4 tiers, with an extra one being the trial service period. So again, if you guys choose any of the 4 tiers, you guys will get that benefit or that perk that is described for each single tier. The ball is in your court from that point forward. All right, but for all 4 tiers, you guys will be getting access to the report and the private CFO Discord community for the price of 1. All right. Okay, so that is it for tonight, guys. I mean, that's all I wanted to talk about tonight. And if you guys want to check what we've been doing in the actual Discord as well, make sure you guys take a look at the Instagram page at Charts Focus One, specifically the stories that I posted today. And you guys can see, maybe you guys can get some more trade ideas. Little wink wink there. Okay, so all right, so that is it for tonight, guys. I will see you guys on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you guys leave a like down below if you guys enjoyed this live stream. But most importantly, if this was applicable and you guys can apply maybe using ALAB and maybe the levels that I've shown here so far that has been on your screens for this entire stream, and you guys are able to apply it to your future trading on this specific ticker, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well. All right. Okay, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining.